So this is the card we're going to be making tonight. And it's a pretty simple card. It's not going to take a ton of time. Coloring might take a little bit of time. I'm going to, sorry, I had to walk away because I forgot that I need my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine so that we can emboss. What will take the most time is coloring, and that's not going to take a ton of time. But I did want to show you a little bit of, a difference, a subtle difference that can take your cards just up a little bit. Hi, Elaine. Nice to have you. Okay, I'm moving my cat. That cat, I'm telling you, it's crazy. So I wanted to show you a couple other, I'll show you a couple of the other ones at the end that I also did with the Driving By. We're going to be using Driving By, which is a celebration set. And this is available for just about 10 more days, I think. And it's one of the $50 level celebration sets. And it's just really cute. It's got a little VW bus and a Beetle and then a nice little sports car. So it's just kind of a fun stamp set. And who doesn't need more stamp sets that appeal to men? All right, we are going to have a base of Real Red. And so I've already cut that to the normal card base size and scored it in half. And so I just now did that. So this background right here is actually vellum. And vellum is just kind of a bit of a transparent paper. And this is a nice heavy weight that Stampin' Up! Offers us. And I used the new Gingham embossing folder from the current mini catalog for it. So I'm just going to cut a piece down to the right size. Find which drawer I put my paper trimmer in. I'm still trying to get used to my stuff here. So I'm going to use my paper trimmer upside down as I normally do. And I don't think, this is big enough. So it's 5 inches and I want it by 3 3/4. So I'm taking a 1/2 inch off both measurements for a folded card. And then I'm just going to slip this piece right in my folder. Now this is not one of the dynamic or the 3D folders, so you do not actually need you don't need the dark plate. You just need your normal 1, 2, and 3 plates for your Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Let's go ahead and bring that into view. And I know it's going to be really close up. I'm working on some other stuff, but that's up pretty close. Get a good shot of what I'm doing. So you will need a number 1 plate, and you actually don't need a 2 here. I think I said that, but you don't need a 2. You just need 2 3s. And you want to make sure that your folded edge goes through first. And then you'll just put that through. And when we're done, we just get this nice little embossed look. So when vellum is embossed, it makes it look like it's been stamped with white, but it hasn't. That's just the cool effect that you get. And what I found is interesting is that our Stampin' Seal doesn't seem to show through, and neither do our dots, our glue dots. But let me show you for a second what I'm talking about. You watch, it'll make a liar out of me this time. I'm gonna put a glue dot. I can't even see where the glue dot is. I'm trying to get it into this space here. All right. it will show up, I guess this one does show up a little bit. See, that I'm covering this up so it's not a big deal to me. But you can get around that by just putting them in the back of these areas that are whitish. They won't show it all. So I'm gonna, in order to do that, because I don't know if you noticed, I had a hard time placing that when I was just trying to look at some invisible glue dots on some kind of clear vellum. Didn't work out so well for me. Just take these dots and put them down using my Take Your Pick tool. All right, so can any of you that are watching, anybody want to fess up and tell me what if they do not have a Take Your Pick tool? I wonder if there's any of you out there yet that don't have one. And I kind of like to know why not. These things are fantastic. It really is, you know, they could probably get much more than $10 for it. But that's all they ask for it. All right, let's see. All right, we're gonna put that on there. I guess it wasn't half an inch in each dimension. I must have measured wrong. It is one of those days, people. One of those days. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take a piece of the basic white cardstock, and you can use either thick or regular. Doesn't matter. I'm going to just take the regular here, and I'm going to cut it at, I think, 2.5 by 3. And while I've got my paper trimmer out, I'm going to cut a piece of black, probably just a little bit bigger than that. So let's go 2 3/4 by 3 1/4. And I think these are probably different measurements than I had on my original, and that's all right. So yeah, so mine are a little bit more square. They're not square, but they're a little bit more square anyway. I'm going to, so you can see you get something that looks like that. It's just a little bit bigger. I could cut it down if I wanted it. You can decide which one you like better. I'm making both. One's already made. So now we're going to get out our stamp set, and I'm going to use this cute little convertible because I always need birthday cards. And I need men's birthday cards as well. The women are pretty easy to come up with. Men are always a little bit harder. I'm going to get out my Memento because I'm going to be coloring with my blends. So I don't want to use StazOn. I rarely use StazOn these days anymore, because my watercoloring is usually done with my blends. Let's see, let's just do this right here. There's my car. I actually am not coloring. I am cheating a little bit because I don't have the basic black blends. I only have a gray. So I'm trying to call up on my computer why it won't let me see the comments. Reba has one on order. You're going to love it, Reba. And Elaine has 3 of them, plus all the plug-in parts. And probably, you know, what's nice about having more than one is with these Take Your Pick tools, so they do have different attachments, so you can spin it around. So if you have more than one, you just have all of these different ones, you know, configured. So you just grab the one that you need. You don't have to actually move it around. The 2 weeks that I had lost this because of my stamp room redo, I really missed it. All right, I'm going to take some blends here and we're going to color. I want my card to be red. I'm going to start with a base of the light red blend. You want to be very careful when you're coloring with the tip. So I know a lot of people like Copic markers. They don't actually come in the Stampin' Up! Colors though. They have tips that are probably a little bit more resilient, and as a result you pay for that. But if you're very careful here, you can save your tips and they can be in good working order. There's also a bullet tip to get you into finer spaces. But I always start by laying down a color of the light color first, and then we can add into the dark color just around to give it some dimension. But I'm also going to show you that you don't need to put a solid base down. You can leave a couple of spots where, you know, the sunlight might be hitting the car. It's very hard for me to do this. Like, I have to practice all the time. So maybe the sun is hitting it right in that spot. So all you've got is the glare of the sun. And then I lay the darker one around the edges, because these edges in real life are rounded up towards the next section. So they would naturally have some more depth to them. And you can see it's very subtle in here, very subtle, but if I want to make it even more subtle, maybe I'll come in with a bullet tip. All I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of blend this in a little bit. It makes the rough edge or the sharp line disappear a little bit more. And you know, as things dry, it gets even prettier. That's what we've got going on so far. Now for the wheels, I'm going to bring in some of my smoky slate. And I'm going to use the bullet tip on these because I'm looking at just this inner piece right here. And I just put that in right there. And then I've got some nice chrome finishes on my bumper. And in the front, I think I'll leave the headlight alone. I need some color for my balloons. Actually, what I wanted to do too was I wanted to give the windshield a little bit of something. I put in a little bit of gray here. And I'm gonna then bring in my color lifter, so it will take some of the gray out, but it will really just end up looking like there's a windshield there. And it may or may not translate on the camera, but it looks much better with just a teeny tiny hint of gray. All right, so let's see. Let's put in some balloon colors here. We'll bring in a yellow, and we'll bring in a, let's see, what's this? Misty Moonlight? Misty Moonlight, that's a light Misty Moonlight. And then let's bring in, I like Bermuda Bay. Let's bring in Bermuda Bay. Just some happy balloon colors. If you wanted a red balloon in there too, you could have a red balloon. I just wanted a little bit more color. So I chose that. And I could put a little light in there, you know, a little light spot in there, but I'm not going to bother with it. It's too much work for me, honestly. And here's the Misty Moonlight. Now, one of the things that some people experience, and it has to do, I think, with some temperature changes that might be going on in your room based on, you know, where the heater is or something. But sometimes when you open these, you might get a drop of alcohol or something that comes out, and that might be related to the pressure that's built up. Hey, Denise. Denise and I work together and go to church together. So here's another balloon. But So what I end up doing is I try to not open it right over my project, because then, you know, if you get an alcohol drop on there, then it ruins your project. And of course, it's always going to happen when you're almost done. So now I don't have a black marker in the blends, so I decided I was just going to go ahead and use my Stampin' Write marker to do the tires. Typically we would stamp with StazOn in order to use these, because these markers are water-based and not alcohol-based. So if you were coloring with, say, yellow, and you came up next to these black lines of the stamped image, they would run. You need to have opposites. So if your ink is on your stamp is alcohol-based, you want water-based markers, and vice versa. So like the blends and the StazOn are similar. That's why they don't work so well together. So if I were to be coloring right now with yellow, it would pick up the black ink and get, you know, yak. Yellow and black, yak, which is yuck. All right, so there is our card. Now, we could leave it just like that, but let's give it a little bit more realism. Now, obviously, nobody's going to think this is a real car, but let's go ahead and ground the car. Okay, the ground. We don't want the car floating in thin air, so we're just going to add a little bit, and I'm just rubbing ever so lightly, so it's not even a pretty line with my marker. Just doing that. And then I can go ahead and come in with my color lifter and just lighten it a little bit, so it's just ever so slight, that shadow of the undercarriage of the car. Let's go ahead and mount this. I'm going to mount it a little bit crooked. Let's go corner to corner there. And then I think we need to probably pop these up with dimensionals. I got my dimensionals sticking together here. And let's go with one in the center for good measure. So we're coming into spring. It's felt like spring the last couple days here in Maine, but of course now it's starting to get colder again. But there we have our car. Now I know that some people, like, I can see on the camera, like, that looks like a really good light piece that's hitting that car. It's still hard for me to look at it and go, oh, I missed a spot, but I'm gonna try my best to just leave it where it is. And let's bring in some black matte dots to finish this off. Get my take your pick tool, and actually I think I'm going to use the putty end. Let me get a little new putty out, because that one's been around for a little bit. And let's see, we're going to take off. All I have to do is push down and pick up, and let's see, I went off. Let's go there. See how easily this picks up my dots? All right. We know we have to have 3, right? So there's our 3. And now we just need to cut a piece for the inside, because of course we cannot leave the inside naked. That just will not do. So I'm going to cut the inside piece to 5 1/4, which that already is, by 4. Now if you want to have a little bit of fun on the inside, because I didn't put a greeting, I guess I could put a greeting in here right now, because there is more room. So I don't want to do aw thanks. Let's go with you've got style. That kind of fits that that vehicle, I think. We can now I mounted it already here, so I'm hoping I'm not going to ruin this card. We'll see. We shall see. Straight down, straight up. Because there are dimensionals under there, it could very well not do okay. But look, it did all right. Whew. Close one. All right, so you've got style. Now let's go ahead and clean our stamp. And I want to tie it all together on the inside. So let's go ahead and we'll bring in the real red ink. Let's see, I'm gonna just go ahead and take this off. And I don't want it to be very, very strong in here, so I'm gonna stamp off once on scratch paper and then put that down there. So it's just a little bit lighter. It's not too heavy. And of course I can do that with the envelope as well. Let's bring in the envelope. Actually, for the envelope, I think we can go ahead and go full strength on this. Here we go. Just a hint of what is to come on the inside when they open up that envelope. All right. And there we have our card with matching envelope. I would probably stamp a happy birthday in here, but because it could be a congratulations as well, I'm going to leave it because, you never know if I'm going to need birthday first or congratulations. Maybe somebody's retiring. Boy, wouldn't that be nice to drive off from your job in that vehicle? And let me show you a couple of other cards that I made with this particular stamp set. Let me pull them in. They're around here somewhere. So here's what I did with the bug, and I was looking online and I saw something similar to this, and I thought, oh, that's kind of cute. So I just put a little bit of my own spin on it. You can see that I've actually distressed this a little bit, so I don't know if you can tell, the paint isn't real even on this, but if this old style bug, they're lucky if they have paint right now. You can see that I made the windows the same way I made the windshield. I kind of added just a little bit of smoky slate there and then took some of it away. So it's just a hint. I grounded this vehicle as well. And this paper is from the Celebration Sunshine and Rainbows collection. That was also a $50 level. It's got some fun colors and polka dots and patterns, and it goes with the Rainbows of Happiness stamp set. But I used it with the cars this time. And here's another card I did. Again, I've used some paper. This is actually done with paper piecing. I stamped these Volkswagen bugs, or the vans, onto the Mini Marvelous paper, which is also a Celebration thing. This gray in here was from the Marvelous paper as well. So that's all just mounted on top. I cut out around those areas, and I cut these little windows out, and I just glued them all together to a base of white that I had stamped on. Cut that out. So there was a lot of work in here, a lot of paper piecing, but it's so much fun to have just some interest on those vehicles, I think. So then I just made my little roadway with a strip of black cardstock, and my white chalk marker made the passing lines and driving by. So this guy is just driving by the other guy just to say hi. And then I wanted to show you another one. This isn't a full card, obviously, but this is also paper piecing. And you get a little bit more of that hippie vibe with this one, right? Because I used the sunshine stuff. And then I didn't paper piece in here. I just colored in the windows. This is all white. And then I colored in this part of the van and the fenders with Mango Melody, whatever it's called, something like that. And so I'll be using this on a project too at some point. So if you have, if you like this set, you only have a little bit more time to get it. But there's so many great celebration choices. You know, you can't go wrong with anything that you pick. So I think that's all I have for you tonight. Wish me luck tomorrow getting my computer fixed at the Apple Store. I'm going to tell you what you should not do. If you own a Mac, do not upgrade to Monterey unless your Mac is a new one, because that is what has given me all my problems. And so I think tomorrow when I make them downgrade it, I can't downgrade it because of the issues that Monterey is actually causing. I can't downgrade it myself, so Apple's going to do it for me. Wish me luck. I'm hoping to drive away with a working computer after my appointment tomorrow afternoon. So I hope you guys all have a great Saturday, and I will see you next Friday. Have a good weekend.